Hello, American Patriots, and welcome to another episode of the Ducote Show. You had many places you could be tonight, but you chose to be here, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very much. If you're joining us for the very first time, please go over to DouglasDucote.com and sign up for our newsletter. The website will be up and running fully within the next 30 days. Also, if you're new to the site, you can watch me or see me and the activities that we're involved in across the nation on Facebook under American Patriot by the Grace of God, plus the Douglas Ducote Show on Facebook as well. In the near future, we'll be broadcasting live there again, as well as other social media platforms. And Twitter, though, I'm banned for life. There is a Douglas Ducote Sr., Douglas M. Ducote Sr., my exact name on Twitter, using my pictures, making fun of me and pretending that I'm a horrible left-wing Democrat. It's not me. Anyone with any portion of a brain would be able to figure that out in a very short period of time. But Twitter bans me and lets that person stay on. Isn't that unique? Tonight's show is going to focus on a few different things, but basically all around the same subject, and that is racism in America. And why I keep telling people, as well as many other conservatives and Republicans that you will see on different news outlets and on YouTube, that this is all a false narrative. This whole thing about police officers are going after black folks and the white race is horrible and we're keeping the black man down. It's all based on a false narrative. We keep preaching that. We keep showing you the facts on that. But yet they just continue. It's like just a broken record when it comes to the Democrats and the liberals. Look, you could have the IQ of a soap dish and be able to figure this out with just a couple of Google searches, for crying out loud. But the majority of them, and when I say them, I'm talking about Democrats and liberals and anyone that follows CNN and MSNBC. I'm talking about most of those that are in the Black Lives Matter movement, all of those in the new Black Panther Party, those follow Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and the NAACP, and all those young white idiots running around calling themselves Antifa. Will we ever get through to these folks? I don't know. Maybe in my lifetime, we'll never see that happen. I hope that we do. This entire narrative, false, is about one thing. Do you know what it is? Let me help you. It's because November is right around the corner, and they've tried everything they can to get Donald Trump out of office. They've tried everything they can to get more Democrats in the House and to take back over the Senate. 60 years ago plus, white people in America had white privilege. Yeah. Today in 2020, and since 55 years ago, it's not the same. We don't have this problem that they're telling you we have. They keep hammering down on this. They keep pushing it. They keep poking the bear, because if you keep poking the bear long enough, the bear's going to bite back. And I'm going to share with you shortly how that's actually starting to happen right now, because there's enough police officers and enough white people and enough conservatives and Republicans that are saying, I'm not handling this anymore. I'm not going to deal with this ideology of hate towards me for something that a few people made up. And it was only a few people, which we'll talk about. The entire race BS, the police BS, it's just another attempt because Stormy Daniels failed. Trump University scandal failed. Russia collusion failed. Trump impeachment failed. Now, here we are, right before November. They've got a candidate that's worse, if that's even possible, than Hillary Clinton was that went up against Trump in 2016. And when I say worse, I base that on the fact that if anybody pays any attention to his little live streams he does and his, in his basement or wherever he's at, putting out his information, when he does get interviewed on radio stations and so forth, that he probably has dementia or possibly Alzheimer's. I'm not sure. And I'm not making fun of people with dementia or Alzheimer's. I have family members that have dementia. Okay. I have TBI, a traumatic brain injury, and I take medications that some Alzheimer's patients take. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I got nothing to hide. So I'm not picking on those people. Trust me when I say this. I'm telling you that anybody that listens to this man knows that he's not fit mentally to be the president of the United States. So then they thought, okay, nothing's working. He's got to pick. Then this is not him doing it. Joe Biden's not the person that come up with this idea. Trust me. Okay. It's not him. But his handlers said, your vice president is going to have to be a woman. It has to be. There's no other way possible that we can beat Trump. And then they took it a step further this week and said it's got to be a black woman because their candidate isn't mentally fit, and they know it. The writing's on the wall. Now, if you think for one moment that Joe Biden chose on his own that he's going to pick a female candidate, and it's going to be a black woman, then you are truly clueless about Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. I'm going to read something to you here real quick that kind of puts it all in perspective about the Democrats. In recent years, left-wing Democrats and so-called progressives have routinely labeled as racist some of America's greatest founding fathers and military leaders who were slave owners. Men such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and that Mino racist Robert E. Lee. They have also demanded that statues of these men be pulled down and the buildings which bear their names be changed because of their shameful past. The people calling for these changes almost always come from those in the Democrat Party. Now, let me stop a second and remind everyone that the Democrat Party was the party that was 100% against freeing the slaves. They're the party that wanted to keep blacks and whites segregated. They are the party that founded the KKK. And today, they are the party that in every metropolitan city across America, where there is this epidemic of black on black crime and shithole cities, they're run by Democrats. That's a fact. You can't make this up. All right. Well, you could, but you can fact check it and come to the conclusion that if you believed it, that it wasn't the case, that it was Republicans, then, well, you're an idiot. So they're trying to change that narrative. That's the new Democrat Party play on words. We have to make the new generation coming up, the new voters, the young kids, believe that it wasn't us. It wasn't our party that were the bad guys. No. It's them horrible Republicans. And trust me, my friends, as you see what's happening all across America right now, that shit's working. So we need to double down and keep pushing the truth out there. Anyhow, back to what I was saying. The people called for these changes almost always are those from the Democrat Party. But one hears little from those woke individuals about the legacy of racism in the Democrat Party. There are no apologies for the actions taken in the votes cast by politicians in the Democrat Party during the second half of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century. Not a single one of them have you ever heard come up and say, we're sorry for the way we treated Black people. Did you know that the Republican Party actually came together for the sole purpose of freeing African Americans? Facts matter, my friends. An example of shameful behavior by Northern Democrats occurred during the Civil War in 1862. A bill was introduced in Congress to free the approximately 3,200 slaves in the District of Columbia, where the federal government ruled. David Blight, in his superb biography, Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom, writes that the rolling debate in those houses centered on the capacities of Black people to cope with freedom and what was to be done with them after they were freed. The bill proposed to pay compensation of $300 per slave of each slaveholder, as well as $100,000 for various plans of colonization after the slaves were freed. Every Republican in Congress voted for the measure. Every Northern Democrat, but 4, voted against the bill. President Abraham Lincoln signed the bill into law in 1862. As John Adams said when defending the British soldiers faced with the charge of murder in the Boston Massacre of 1770, facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, are what we want to get accomplished, our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts or the evidence. Let's look at the facts surrounding President Lincoln's campaign for the second term in 1864. What was the Democrat platform adopted during the party's convention that summer? Delegates at the 1864 Democrat National Convention passed proposals by former congressmen, for a ceasefire negotiation settlement with the Confederacy to end the Civil War. The Democrat presidential candidate, General McLean, reputed this policy in his campaign, promising to pursue the war vigorously. However, if the Democrats had won the election, McLean may not have prevailed against the powers in his party and might have been forced to enact the Democrat Party platform. If this had come to pass, America might conceivably still be split into 2 countries, one slave and one free. More evidence of racism inherited in the Democrat Party at the time of the Civil War, the fight to pass the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery. The Republican Party, led by President Lincoln, sought to pass the 13th Amendment in 1864. The amendment reads as follows: neither slave nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime, the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to our jurisdiction. The Senate voted by the necessary 2/3 majority to pass the amendment in 1864. In a vote taken in June of 1864, the amendment failed to garner the necessary 2/3 majority in the House every Northern Democrat but 4 voted against the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery. President Lincoln tried to pass the 13th Amendment again after his victory in 1864. The 2012 Steven Spielberg movie, Lincoln, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie, you should, uses the story of the struggle to pass the amendment in January of 1865 to portray the character of one of our greatest presidents. The Senate had already passed the measure the previous year. The battle took place in the House again. President Lincoln could count on every Republican to vote to abolish slavery. The problem again was how to secure the necessary votes from Northern Democrats, most of whom were every bit as racist as Southern Democrats who were governing the Confederacy. Historic vote took place, as we know, January 31st of 1865. The 13th Amendment was approved 119 to 56, meaning with 2 votes to spare. It passed because 8 Democrats were persuaded to abstain. Another 14 Democrats voted for the measure. Almost all of the Northern Democrats abstained from voting for the amendment were lame ducks, many of whom had been promised plum jobs by the Lincoln administration when they left Congress. All 56 negative votes came from Northern Democrats. Facts matter, my friends. What a legacy. What shameful behavior by the Democrat Party. The legacy of racism in the party continued, of course, during Reconstruction and Jim Crow, and in the South during the Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s and 1960s. They were all Democrats that continued after the abolishment of slavery to keep the black man down. These days, term racist is constantly in the mouth of left-wing Democrats and woke individuals of every stripe. Conservatives, libertarians, and Republicans are accused of racism in debates over immigration, voter fraud, sanctuary cities, even tightening up rules about eligibility for food stamps. All of that brings up the term racism. In any given day, you can turn on CNN and you will hear the term racist or racism brought up close to 1,000 times because they're trying to push that narrative to help the Democrat Party. Democrats should think careful before calling other people racist. Doing so only reveals hypocrisy. Well, only if we did our homework, Democrats, liberals. They should remove the plank in their own eye before trying to remove specks from the eyes of others. Acknowledging the legacy of racism in the Democrat Party would be a great step forward to end racism and perhaps lower the current level of political chaos in our country. This, my friends, can be found in the New Boston Post. It was a great article. It was put out January 11th of 2020, and I give them kudos for writing something that needs to be spoken. It needs to be in our schools. We need to be teaching our children the facts about the Democrat Party. Many on the left will tell you, oh, well, okay, well, that may have been true about the Democrats back then, but by the 1960s, that all changed. And the Democrats in the South became Republicans, and then they held the black man down. That's about, it doesn't even make sense. But it's another narrative, and I'm sure you've heard it many times because they love to say it. Oh, amazing the things that you can find out if you just did a little bit of research on it, Democrats. So, besides all the factual history things about what took place in Congress through the years since the Civil War. In amongst that became an organization built by Democrats, an organization, two of them, by the way, two, to do everything in their power to keep Black people down, to do everything in their power to, let's just be honest, kill off the Black race. One is still doing a hell of a job as I speak. It's called Planned Parenthood. Its founder, its entire conception was to kill Black babies. And today in 2020, more Black babies are killed, and have always been that way since their inception, than white babies. How sad is that? Think about that for a moment. That the Democrats, even right now, every year Republicans try and find a way to cut federal funding to Planned Parenthood, but what happens? The Democrats fight it tooth and nail. You want to tell me they're not racist? If you look at the facts of Planned Parenthood, you look at the history of Planned Parenthood, you look at the hundreds of thousands of Black babies that are being killed by Planned Parenthood, all lives matter, right? Black lives matter? Wait, is it all lives or Black lives? Which ones matter? Baby Black lives don't matter to the Black Lives Movement or to the NAACP or to any of the Democrats or liberals. No. The hell with it. Black babies, no. It's not a life yet. The other group was the KKK, founded by the Democrat Party. Members of Congress, mayors, governors, councilmen, to go around burning crosses, lynching Black people. And thanks to who? Not Democrats, Republicans. Eventually, the KKK was sent packing their bags, and today, very little exists of that organization. Every now and then, something will pop up, but it don't hold a candle on the organization that still holds true power to kill off the Black race, Planned Parenthood. But if you were to listen to CNN and MSNBC and the Democrats and the liberals and all those young white kids running around the streets causing chaos, I'll be damned. You would think that all of this is the Republicans' fault. All of this hate is caused by the Republicans. The Democrats must put that narrative forward, a false narrative as it is, yes, because they don't have any other choice. This can be seen clearly by just looking at the NFL players that take a knee. And this year, whenever football kicks back off again, hell, whenever sports kick back off again, watch what's going to happen during the national anthem. Sit back and watch, my friends. They're going to be kneeling so much that they're going to be licking the dirt off the field. They're never going to stand for the national anthem and the flag unfolding. Never again. All based on a false narrative going back to Colin Kaepernick, who is their now hero. He had it right all along. Look what's happening with these bad white people and bad cops and horrible Republicans and conservatives. No, my friends. No, not at all. If you were to go back and you were to listen and just, you can find it right here on YouTube. Look at the original conversations in media that Colin Kaepernick had about why he was taking a knee. He started this false narrative that whites were holding down blacks all across America and all the metropolitan cities. We were taking away their education. We were taking away their jobs. We were taking away their ability to be owners of businesses. And on top of that, the police were going after just black people and killing young black youth. Well, who do the young kids look up to? They don't look up to our military, to our vets, to our law enforcement. No, they look up to these idiots that make $14, $15, $30 million a year throwing around a pigskin. And this young Afro-haired dude that they thought was, oh, he's the shit. He knows what he's talking about because, oh, he's not 100% black and he's not 100% white. He comes from a mixed family. He must know better. He must know the truth. And then he started throwing in things that were happening in the news that you saw too, that turned out to be false. He started talking about, and he got Congress to talk about it, the Democrats, to talk about Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. And that, my friends, started this wave of shit that we're faced with today. The first camera put in the face of a black person on the streets of Ferguson the day Michael Brown was shot looked in that camera and lied his ass off and said he saw everything, and Michael Brown was just doing his own thing, wasn't causing anybody any problems. The cops started harassing him, started yelling at him, called him the N-word. Michael Brown feared for his life, put his hands up and said, "Please don't shoot me," and turned around to walk away, and the cop gunned him down in the street and shot him in the back and killed him for no reason at all. And Colin Kaepernick and all the black NFL players started taking a knee over that. And there's the proof. Look, there it is. Members of Congress, the Black Caucus, got all just freaked the hell out. Look what just happened. This white cop just gunned down this poor, innocent guy. And they painted Michael Brown to be this saint. Hell, even the Obama administration, if you remember, Obama was the first black president, sent people from his administration to Michael Brown's funeral to represent the president. Eric Holder, who was the Department of Justice head for the president, a black man. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I assure you, we will do what's right for the country. We will do what's right for the black race. So then all the investigation started. While the Democrats and liberals continued to pump out and preach how horrible the police officers were in America. And they just kept doubling down and tripling down. That the narrative was that every day police officers wake up to go to their shift, and the first thing enters their mind is, how many black youth can I shoot and gun down today? And that shit spread like wildfire. And the NFL players kept taking a knee over it. The liberals talked about it, and CNN kept pouring the gas on the fire. And MSNBC as well. And it continued to get worse and worse and worse. When the dust finally settled, the county investigation was done, the city investigation was done, the state investigation was done, the federal investigation was done, all of which were equal black and white looking into the Michael Brown shooting. After all the evidence, all the other witnesses, everything that took place, it turns out that Michael Brown was a thug with a huge criminal record and was nothing but a thorn in society in Ferguson, Missouri. He was this big, huge guy, and the cop turned out to be the littlest white dude on the department. It turned out that Michael Brown just wasn't walking away peacefully, minding his own business. He had just strong-armed a convenience store, threatened the life of the owner as he was stealing products from them. That's who called the police. The cop sees the description. There he is walking down the street, comes up and tries to talk to him, has his window down. When he goes to get out of his car, because Michael Brown isn't paying attention because he's high, he's on drugs. We know that from the toxicology report. Michael Brown reaches in the car and punches him, and starts trying to get his gun from him. It falls out onto the street, and Michael Brown is winning the war. He's beating the shit out of this cop. The cop finally gets free, and Michael Brown's last-ditch attempt to jump on him and plummet him to death, the cop fires his weapon and kills him in self-defense. Those are the facts of that case. And right now, June 18th, 2020, at 8:37 Central Time, p.m., the Democrat Party and the left continue to push the false narrative, hands up, don't shoot. And then every case since then, there's only been a handful of them, where a white police officer had to shoot a black person. It all goes back to the original false narrative. Take a knee, police brutality, hands up, don't shoot. Remember Michael Brown. And yet, they don't talk about the fact that white people are killed almost twice as much by police than black people are. They don't want to hear that fact. And then they say, oh, well, you got to look at the numbers, Doug. Look at the percentage of blacks compared to the percentage of whites in America. That's why more whites are killed. Okay, let's look at that percentage. You're right. Well, then why is it that a smaller percentage of black people are the ones committing the most crimes in America? Nobody wants to talk about that because it's not politically correct. And if you do, you're going to be called a racist and a bigot. You're going to be called every horrible thing that you could possibly call another human being. I know, because I get called it every day. If you go back and you look at my videos over the past years talking about this exact same subject, 10 years ago, you can find YouTube videos of me talking about what I'm talking about right now, before Colin Kaepernick took a knee. But that was what started this. And they never let it go. They still today refuse to accept the evidence after it was all said and done that Michael Brown was no saint. And had the police officer not killed Michael Brown, the police officer would have been killed by Michael Brown. Facts matter. Michael Brown's dead. Nobody from the Obama administration went afterwards to the police officer and his family to say, hey, we're sorry. No, he lost his job. He's never going to work in law enforcement again. He can't show his face in public. His life was forever ruined over a false narrative. And it still continues to happen right now. If Black lives truly mattered, really, really mattered to all these people going around screaming that shit, then you would be burning down Planned Parenthoods, not Walmarts and Targets and post office and banks and police stations. If Black lives really mattered, you would go and run every mayor out of every metropolitan city in America that happens to be a Democrat where all these black on black crimes are taking place. You would run them out in a heartbeat. Why can't the Democrats and liberals see this? Why is it so hard to look at the facts, to look at the black on black epidemic crimes we're having in America where they're killing off each other, my friends? In Chicago, every 24 hours, anywhere from 15 to 30 people are shot and 5 to 10 die. All black youth shot and killed by other black youth. Where's the protest for that? And it's everywhere. Run by Democrat mayors. And 99.9% of them are black mayors. And what do the mayors get to choose? They get to hire who their police chief's going to be. And the police chief now works for them. And the police chief doesn't do what the mayor tells him to do. The police chief goes to the unemployment line. It's almost like a bad movie. It's all laid out in front of you. And somehow, I don't know, probably because the white race stopped talking about it. Even Fox News will not discuss what I'm talking about, which are the facts about this bullshit, which could end this bullshit. And in a second, the destruction of this country. They won't do it because it's not politically correct, and they don't want to be labeled a racist. So be it. As we sit back and watch America burn, as we sit back and watch Seattle, Washington taken over by Antifa, a bunch of young punk college kids that believe that everybody older than them that's white is a racist that hates black people. It is a very, very bad time what we're going through in the United States of America. Even with all of the chaos and the false narratives and the things that are being pushed on us. Today in America, if you are black, you have the exact same privilege as I do, providing you don't go commit a crime, providing when you get stopped by a cop, you don't act like a fucking idiot, providing You don't get shot because you tried to take the officer's gun from him. Here's a little homework assignment for you, Democrats and liberals. On YouTube, in the search engine, I want you to look for videos of police officers on traffic stops physically fighting for their lives with white people and with black people. Pretty simple, right? Hell, use Google. Look what's happening right now in America because of what Colin Kaepernick started. There are young black men, if you want to call them that, running around attacking other young, except white men and women, even elderly women. It's a video right now. This just happened a couple of days ago. This little 80-year-old white woman with a cane walking down the road. A black kid who was let out of jail because of COVID-19 punches her as he walks by her for no reason at all. Just last week, like 15 black thugs went into a convenience store, cut in line in front of a white guy who mentioned to him, hey, the line's behind me, guys. Oh, really? We don't give a shit. They did their thing, left. He's like, whatever. When he walked outside, they beat the shit out of him. You can see the video. That's happening all across America as I speak. I want you to show me a video on YouTube. Show me a video of a group of white people going out attacking black people. Show it to me. Bet you can't find it because it's not happening. This isn't the 1920s. This isn't Alabama in the 1930s. The problem in America is not white people against black people. It isn't systemic racism like they keep preaching to you. Cops are not going out of their way to do anything to anyone unless they absolutely have to, especially in today's climate. And sadly, more police officers are going to die, and many have already died, based on Colin Kaepernick taking a damn knee. The blood of these police officers that are dying is on his black and white hands. He is the one responsible for that hatred. And what the hell's happening right now with the NFL? Oh, we think we should give him a second chance. Now we see, after the last two police shootings, we understand now. He was right all along. Police officers are out to kill black people. The white race hates black people. 100% bullshit. If anybody hires that piece of shit to do anything, you're a freaking racist. You're a bigot. And I hope if he gets hired by an NFL team that no one turns that shit on again. I'm done with the NFL. So regardless if they hire that sumbitch or not, I love football. I live for football. I still watch college football. I still go to college football games. I still have kids in college. But the NFL that I used to live for, every Sunday, every Monday night, never turning that shit on again because of all this take a knee shit. And the NFL not having the damn balls to say, if you take a knee, you're off our goddamn team. This is the American flag. This is our national anthem. This ain't got shit to do with racism. You can go protest when you're not playing football. Name a company in America that hires thousands of people and allows you, while you're at work doing your job, to go protest something at work. And they not fire your ass. But not the NFL. Oh no. Why? Because NFL owners are white. Why? Because then they become a racist. And I could go on and on about other cases. You know, the knee to the neck of the guy who's dead. Look, that's plain ass murder. I've already admitted that. I talked about that from the very beginning. And that officer's being charged, and he should be. What we saw took place just recently in Atlanta. Well, look, that DA, who is a racist bigot, there's no other reason. There's nothing else you can call him, because that's what he is. I saw the same videos he saw. You saw them too. I don't know. Find me a cop. Find me a DA anywhere besides him that will agree that that officer should have been charged with anything. And the entire press conference in Atlanta, he described a scene from watching the videos that does not fit what you and I saw. Google it, look him up on YouTube, watch his damn press conference. Go back and watch the videos that took place in that Wendy's parking lot, and you're going to go, what the fuck's he talking about? He's not talking about what I just watched. He's not talking about the guy who just attacked the cops, started punching them, took their taser, ran off, fired the taser at the officer, which had he hit him, he would have immobilized him. Then you don't think he would have took that officer's gun and shot and killed him with it? That same DA 2 weeks ago, guess what he said? He said that a taser is a deadly weapon in another case he was representing as the DA. Now, all of a sudden, because a black guy died, he doesn't want to see the city burn down anymore. Oh, it's just a taser. It just gives you a little tingle and a shock. And we need every one of these cases in the past few years. The only real clear-cut case, hands down, is the knee to the neck for those 7 minutes and something. Look in Baton Rouge, Alton Sterling. You don't know about it? Look it up. You can watch the video of Alton Sterling and 2 police officers doing everything in their power to get him into custody, knowing that he has a gun on him, because that's what they were called for. And when they realize he's not fighting with one hand anymore, he's reaching in his pocket, and they realize that's where the damn gun is, and he's trying to pull it out, and they shoot him, and it was completely justified. Those officers' lives are ruined. And Alton Sterling was this model citizen for the black community, this put up on a pedestal, who was a freaking child molester, who was a thief, who had a rap sheet bigger than a War and Peace novel. I want to get off of this subject for a moment because I think I got my message across. If I didn't, trust me, I tried. If you didn't know, and I've been saying this for a long time, social media is going after conservatives and Republicans daily, trying to shut us down everywhere they can. Twitter recently jumped on Trump with one of his tweets. They're trying to figure out a way to pull off actually deleting a presidential account. Facebook on Thursday, that'd be today, said it had acted against ads run by President Trump's re-election campaign for breaching its policies on hate. I'm going to repeat that because I know that some of you went, what did he just say? Facebook on Thursdays said it had acted against ads run by President Trump's re-election campaign for breaching its policy on hate. And they removed the ad. The ads, which attacked what the Trump campaign describes as dangerous mobs of far-left groups. Antifa. You know, those that are burning down the freaking country, killing police officers, burning police cars, taking over and burning down police stations, post offices, banks, targets, small businesses, owning downtown Seattle. For the Trump campaign to call them out for what they are, dangerous mobs of far-left groups, that violates their hate policy. They go on to say that the Anti-Defamation League told them that there's an upside-down triangle in the ad. And that triangle is almost identical to that used by the Nazi regime to classify political prisoners in concentration camps. Look, I'm 58 years old. I love history. I've studied my ass off about military history. I'm passionate about it, especially the generation of World War II. This is the very first time I've ever heard anything about this upside down triangle that represents what the Nazis did. We removed these posts and ads for violating our policy against organized hate. Our policy prohibits using a banned hate group symbol to identify political prisoners without the context and condemns or discussion of the symbol. Andy Stone, a Facebook spokesperson, said, the ads targeted the far-left group Antifa, calling on Trump supporters to back the president's call to designate the group a terrorist organization. This is absolutely insane. How about pancakes? You know, get you some Aunt Jemima syrup. Oh, don't do that shit. It's racist. In fact, let's take Aunt Jemima off of there. Uncle Ben's rice. You want to have some rice with your dinner tonight? Don't get Uncle Ben's. It's got a black guy on the front of it. If you were to actually go, Democrats and liberals, and did your research on who those people are, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, they're actual people. And they did that because of their contribution to cooking and to the wonderful foods they made. They hired them to travel the country and campaign for their product. They were looked at as wonderful people. It showed the wonders, literally wonders, of the black cooks. Think about this for a moment. Let's forget about today. Let's just go back to when slaves existed. How did the plantation owners eat? You think their women cooked? Their women probably couldn't boil freaking eggs. No, the black women cooked. And from then on, they're great cooks. I've always looked forward to any time one of my black friends invites me over to eat something that is mama's cooking. Oh my God. It's like a party in your mouth of wonderful taste and food, and it's just, and now all of a sudden we got to take them down because it's racist. Just a couple of days ago, I was frustrated about them doing this, and I thought, how just absolute sickening and sad this whole thing was becoming. Because it's bad enough that we're taking down all the monuments. We're destroying the monuments just like ISIS did over in the Middle East. We're taking away all of the history of everything to do with anything related to the Confederacy. So I decided that I was going to make a meme and poke fun of that. And what I did was I took a photograph with my camera of the instant oatmeal that I love to eat, the apples and cinnamon by Quaker. And it's got that little white dude on the front of it right there. See? And I said, I'm offended by the Quaker guy. And my great-great-grandfather was a Quaker, and he had a bunch of cracker kids. And that's racist. I want him off that box. Facebook took it down and sent me a warning that I was preaching hate and it wouldn't be tolerated. Now, I'm sure that it's just a matter of time before Facebook takes down the rest of the jokes that I did that same day, because to me, A, it was funny, and B, it was trying to get my point across how stupid this shit is. So I took a photograph, you guys are going to love this, of the Morton salt with the, I don't know if you can see it with the light there, little white girl walking in the rain with the umbrella. And I said, I'm offended. Just because some white girls can't walk in the rain without spilling their salt doesn't mean they all are salt spillers. That's racist. That's how stupid this shit is. I took a picture of sun-made golden raisins. Yeah, these are just products that I pulled out of my cabinet. Said, I'm offended. Many Italian women had to pick grapes in the fields for centuries. This type of racism can't stand. I took a picture of Pioneer Corn Mill. Look at that guy, that old white dude right there. Said, I'm offended. My family were white pioneers. We can't allow discrimination against the pioneers of America. Oh, here's a good one. Took a picture of my son's chocolate milk. Where do you think I'm going to go with this? I'm offended. Why don't they have to use a brown bunny for chocolate milk? That's racist. Here in the South, one of our breads we have, Evangeline Maid, it's called. See that little white woman right there, the Evangeline Maid? Said, I'm offended. Several of my female members of my family were maids back in the 1930s. We can't have this type of racism against white maids in America. And my favorite one of them all, Chef Boyardee. How many of you love that? See that little white dude, that little chef guy right there? I said, I'm offended. I'm part Italian. My mother's maiden name is Zumo, Z-U-M-O. We can't allow this type of racism in America. To prove a point how dumb and stupid this shit has become, you can eliminate everything you want off of products that you think is racist. You can remove every rebel flag in America that you think is racist. By the way, the funny part is those that are doing it couldn't tell you what the Confederate flag actually looks like because that ain't it. But it is to them, but they're not calling for the removal of it. You can take down and remove every statue, every monument, even in museums, to anything related to the Confederacy. You can change the name of all the military installations all across America that are named after a Confederate general. You can remove every single thing you want, and it will not stop an evil person from being a racist. It will still exist. It will not go away, sadly. And as God is my witness, what is happening today with these liberals and Democrats and the false narrative they are pushing on us is a travesty. It is their last-ditch effort to get Donald J. Trump out of office in November. Stay tuned. Joe Biden is about to pick a black woman to be his running mate. It's their last hope because everything else they've tried has failed. And when Trump gets reelected in November, all of this shit that we're hearing right now about racist bullcrap is going to fade away. Just like Stormy Daniels did, just like Russia collusion did, just like the Trump college scandal did. All of it is going to be over with until we get ready for the next presidential election about a year out. Then it's going to start the cycle again. For those of you that believe this false narrative, it's only because you are too ignorant to actually research the information that's being fed to you by the liberals and Democrats, CNN and MSNBC, and sadly, and I do mean that sincerely, by Fox News. Just today, let me bring it up real quick so I make sure that I get the exact quote. Because I read this and I had to read it again, and then I had to read it again because I thought they know exactly what happened in 2016. I mean, literally, as people were voting that day for president, CNN and MSNBC were telling us what? It's over. All the polls, the entire election, even that day, had Hillary Clinton winning with a landslide. And it was all fake. Fox News poll. Ex-vice president widens gap over President Trump and White House race. That's from Fox News today. Right out of the playbook of CNN. The other thing that's about to happen, the other shoe that's about to drop, is police officers all across this country are saying, fuck it. Number one, I sure as hell am not getting paid what I should to do this job. Every day I put on this uniform, there's a 50-50 chance I'm not coming home to my family. And half of America thinks I'm a racist bigot. I'm afraid to pull my gun out if I have to use it. Because somebody's going to have a cell phone there filming my actions. And even if it's 100% justified, and even if I did everything by the book in my training, because of today's climate, I'm a racist bigot if I have to kill a black man. And I'm going to be fired, and I'm probably going to be charged with murder. Police unions, as I speak today, are sending out text messages to their members. July 4th, call in sick. What do you think is going to happen on July 4th in every city in America that has a Democrat mayor that also has this huge crime problem? You ain't seen nothing yet. You want to defund the police? You want to abolish the police? Well, who in the hell are you going to call when they're not there to save your ass? As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, our president, and our country. And I'll leave you with one little tidbit of homework. At the end of all my videos and all my shows, I say the same prayer that I just did. If you're asking yourself, what are angel families? Or what are blue or gold star families? Please Google that. Learn about it. Because it's very, very important, especially if you consider yourself an American patriot. Please share my video. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, ring the little bell. Go over to DouglasDucote.com and sign up for the newsletter. I love this country. I have a passion for this country. I have a passion for its citizens. And no matter how hard the left tries to bring me down, I will continue to do everything in my power to keep speaking my voice of truth and reason. It's not politically correct. And if you want political correctness, go tune in to Fox News. Or there's many of other conservative and Republicans on YouTube that are politically correct. I'm not that person. Never have been, and I never will be. Maybe it's my downfall. I don't know. But damn it, I believe that political correctness is destroying the fabric of this nation. Thank you all. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed evening. I will see you next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central for another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. Between now and then, I'm sure I'll put out a few videos as I try and do one a day, sometimes every other day. Some of them are funny, some of them are sad, but what you will find is it's the damn truth, even though sometimes the truth hurts. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. God bless you.